Good evening, Kindred. I am Teranz, and welcome back to more Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York. I have no idea how far into the game we are. Just gonna be honest with you about that. But last time we set up a meeting with an Anarch faction and had just finished let's see if I can find it now. Faith and Myth Part 3. So we met Father Anthony and Benoit for the last time, and now I need to rest before the next night. All right. You wake up. This is not your haven. It's a cramped space. You try to move your arms and find they are tied to your body. You can barely bend your legs. When you try to stretch your neck, you hit a cold ceiling. Can't quite believe it, but this is a coffin, or something close enough to it. It vibrates slightly, but you can't hear any of the sounds coming from outside. It's entirely dark. Nope. Can't potent as it because I'm not hungry enough or I'm too hungry. I don't remember. You kick the front of the container. The only reaction is a dull metallic sound. Try using your fists, but there's just not enough room to get a good punch in. It seems pretty hopeless. Some more tries. Nothing. This is bad. Oh, excuse me. Suddenly, the containers move slightly. A moment of silence, an indistinct male voice shouting, a muffled shot. Silence again. The lid comes off. What the? We found you. Hey, I got an achievement. Was this, oh. Alright, well, alright. We found you. Do we have them? Come on, get up. We've got to get going. Seeing their faces is surprising. Even more so in these circumstances. However, you realize the immediate danger and follow your companions out of the car and down a street in the North Bronx. The van has crashed into another car. A familiar face, that of Kaiser's ghoul, Jackie, stumbles out of the wrecked sedan and slinks away into the darkness before you call after him. Three of you jog away towards the line of the trees and take shelter under some branches. Just as you hear a chopper approaching, its searchlight illuminates the wrecked van and moves towards you. Hide, now! You see as Tamika literally goes underground, melding with the earth beneath her feet as if she was being swallowed up. You look to Agathon, who seems to be fiddling with a pocket mirror. He breaks it and suddenly disappears from sight. You're left alone with just seconds to make your move before the spotlight finds you. You take off before the light can reach you. In just a single dash, you find a small, overgrown mound beneath an old tree. You realize you didn't have to run that far. The searchlight passes through where you were standing just seconds ago, but doesn't actually reach much further into the park. The helicopter flies on, its searchlight frantically moving through the vicinity as your companions once again appear in your proximity. Close call. We have to get out of here before the SI puts boots on the ground. Wait, the Second Inquisition? What do they have to do with anything? Agathon, fill them in while we walk. Follow me. The Second Inquisition. They raided your haven, immobilized you, and were planning on taking you upstate to a secure facility. For further examination, I'm guessing. Kaiser let me know that you were in trouble. Kaiser organized this whole effort? Why would he do that? Maybe your patron asked him for help? I'm sure she figured out that you're in trouble. Okay, our ride is here. Stay low. The SI might still be around. Kaiser's familiar car stops nearby, and the back door opens. Your allies usher you inside and join you. Being inside this mobile fortress never felt like a relief, until now. Hey, fledgling, miss me? Actually, yeah, I kinda did. Ah, that's so sweet. I hate to break it to you, but I didn't take a sudden liking to you. I'm here on business. You are here now only because I told your buddies that you were neck deep in shit. That van you're in was a one-way tickets to Hertzville, Pennsylvania. I broke you out as a favor. Now you owe me big. How the hell did you know the SI broke into my haven and took me away? Is that a piss poor attempt at an insult, fledgling? I kept eyes on you ever since that little job you did for me in Nolita. You know, in case I needed your help, need you for something else. I had to know your comings and goings. I have a good idea of why the SI hit you, Teranz. Not that there aren't tons of good reasons for it. It might have been one of these, for instance. The screens of the screens in Kaiser's car flicker, and each of them now show a short loop clip. It's you getting into a fight, bleeding, using one of your powers. You haven't exactly kept a low profile, fledgling. I get it. You're new to this. You didn't know better, yada, yada, yada. The fact is, the SI has tons of this stuff. Security camera footage, YouTube videos posted by onlookers, social media posts from victims, you name it. Like I said, though, I don't think any one of these slip ups did you in. Any one of these did you in. Slip ups happen. The reason I need you walking and talking, Teranz, is to test a hypothesis of mine. For that, I need to finish what you were tasked to do. So, first things first. Here. He hands you a phone. The number has already been dialed. You hear the tone. Somebody picks up. Who is this? It's me, Sophie. Teranz, are you okay? They're fine and dandy. Kaiser, what are you doing on this line? What do you think? It's my phone your protege is using, so keep it snappy. Operating a secure network ain't cheap. Come on, Teranz, spit it out. Kaiser saved me from the Second Inquisition, Sophie. I only got out because of him. Your companions look at one another dejectedly. SI, that's what I feared. Listen, the plan, we need to do it tonight. But if the Inquisition is involved and you broke out, they'll be looking for you, so we can't meet in public. I have a place in mind, but Kaiser, are you still listening? Would I tell you if I wasn't? Teranz, call this number from where you visited before last we spoke. I'll come pick you up. She hangs up. And that's that. What is it that you've gotten yourself into? I'm more interested in where our next move is. Your next move is keeping your asses seated in this luxury vehicle while our mutual acquaintance continues with their night. If my intel is worth a damn, your next stop, Teranz, is right about here. The car comes to a stop, and the doors open. Outside, you see the street leading to Solids and Stripes, Torque's Pool Club. Well, you need me to kick you out? What about Tamika and Agathon? What about them? They're staying right here where we're going. They're going to have a little chat. Let's try this again because that didn't. What about them? They're staying right here where they're going, where they are, and we're going to have a little chat. After we're done, I'm sure they'll find their way back to their havens just fine. Clock is ticking. I think I know what Sophie wants to do tonight, and if I'm right, tonight's the last chance you got. If you want to say goodbye to your buddies first, you go. If you want to say bye to your buddies before you go, that's fine by me. But that schedule of yours is pretty hectic, so you'd better do it now and scram. You thank both of your companions for their assistance. Without them, you wouldn't be here now. Kaiser makes a gagging gesture and urges you to step out of the car. You turn around and walk and make your way to the bar. The door closes behind you and Kaiser's limo starts moving again. You hope your companions won't have to pay too high of a price for helping you. Solids and Stripes is pretty much abandoned tonight, with only the bartender and one bleary-eyed local watching an old Bogart movie on the bar screen. You ask to use the phone and call Sophie first. Yes? I'm here. What's the plan? We're on our way. Notify Torque if he's not there. We need to talk as soon as possible and move quickly. She hangs up. You tell the bartender to notify Torque, just like the Anarch leader mentioned you should. The man makes a short call. You only hear somebody picking up, but no words exchanged. The owner's on his way right now. Can I get you anything while you're waiting? Actually, do you serve the special stuff? The bartender raises an eyebrow. The special reserve, you mean? Sorry, I can only serve that to a narrow selection of the owner's friends. Listen, it's been a rough night. Give me a break, please. Just a sip. I don't know. I really shouldn't. What the hell. You really do look like you need it. He takes out a bottle from the safe behind the counter. He pours a bit of brown liquid into a glass. It's whiskey. There, enjoy. Your disappointment is palpable. At least the smell is nice. Torque comes in some 10 minutes later without Mia. He tips his hat to you and puts a hand on the bleary-eyed patron's shoulder and says something to him under his breath. They both laugh. Marty, how's the night going? Quiet, sir. Just how you like it, huh? Torque notices the untouched glass with a bit of whiskey in it that you persuade the bartender to pour. For me, you shouldn't have. He takes the glass and drinks the liquid moving around in his mouth before swallowing. He looks you in the eye. Sure, I won't keep it in forever, but the night when I don't enjoy the taste of a good whiskey is the night when I will truly consider myself damned. Well, Teranz, I believe you wanted me here for a reason. Let's hear it. You're about to tell him what brought you here when the doors to the bar open and Sophie walks in. All splendor and charisma. The patron's eyes are now glued to her, and so are the bartenders. Torque isn't happy with the sight. Well, this isn't what we agreed on, Teranz. Care to explain? Torque, meet Sophie. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. I believe Teranz already told you why I'm here. Not in any detail, and the circumstances of our meetings were supposed to be different. So, Miss Langley, tell me why I shouldn't ask you to leave and kick your protege out while I'm at it. You'll like what I have to say. Yeah, I've heard that line 100 times, but 99 of those ended up with somebody getting hurt, and that's not something I'm in the mood for tonight. We're wasting time. There's a unique opportunity we should take advantage of, and Only have an hour or so to discuss it before it will be time to act. My driver's waiting outside. Wait a goddamn minute. First of all, I'm not going anywhere without Mia. That was the deal. Second, it's Teranz who was supposed to do the driving, not your servant. Both serve me, so it's really of little difference. The circumstances changed and we had to adapt. Don't be stubborn. Foolishness does not suit you. I have a secure spot in mind where we can talk. I'll stop you right there. Torque is seething, but he's keeping a lid on his anger. His voice barely changes. My conditions were clear. The way I hear it, you want to break each one of them. I see no reason to agree to any of this. I believe I will be staying put tonight. You have places to be, yes? Torque, you're throwing away the only chance you have at challenging Callahan. Don't be a fool. The lid comes off. Call me a fool one more time, woman, and that's not the only thing I'm going to be throwing. You're both acting like children. You need to put your differences aside and see each other and see the other's point of view. Both Sophie and Torque glare at you. No powers. Just their personas are enough to make you feel like you'd prefer to be anywhere else but here. Who the fuck do you think you are? There's only one child here, Teranz. You're their patron, Langley. What does that tell us? What are you implying, you insolent? Shots break from the windows and a flashbang goes off in the room, changing the bar into a space of white light and ringing noise. You feel somebody tugging at your back and are thrown behind the bar. More shots ring out, bottles break, the TV shatters into pieces, the wooden bar splinters. Your sight comes back, but you think you've gone deaf because suddenly the room is silent. You see Torque beside you and Marty, the bartender bleeding out on the floor. You look over the bar. Sophie is standing there, her dress partially tattered, a visible hole in her leg. She is like the heart of a supernova, entrancing, unavoidable, beautiful, and terrifying. In front of her are 8 operatives, looking like a private military force, just standing there, paralyzed by Sophie's magnificence. Torque, you still there? Yeah. Would you kindly show your guests some hospitality? Sure thing. The Anarch is gone in the blink of an eye, and he reappears next to one of the soldiers. The armor-clad operative's head disappears in a puff of blood and bone. The same thing happens to the second, the third. You hear the radios go off on the other soldier's shoulder, a panic voice pleading with them to wake up. The fourth head pops, the fifth. Finally realize what happenings. They finally realize what's happening, but it's too late. The sixth man is beheaded by what you now see is just Torque's bare-fisted punch. Torque stops by the seventh man, rips something off his neck, and bites down. Sophie walks over to the last man and has him kneel in front of her before biting as well. On your right, a man in full body armor emerges from the back door, raising his assault rifle. What the fuck? Hey, over here. The man turns for a very scary split second. Man turns, and for a very scary split second, you are looking directly down the barrel of an automatic rifle. The next moment, an impact throws him all the way into the back room, and he crashes into the wall. Torque grins at you, standing in the exact same spot where the soldier was just a second before. You comfy down there? Langley? Sophie wipes her mouth of blood and looks at him. That meeting still an item? Yes. I'll take it. Splendid. Torque walks behind the bar and checks on the bartender. You see the Anarch open his own wrist and feed blood to the wounded man. Drink up, Marty. It'll make you feel better. Get the hell out of here and wait for Mia. She's coming. She's coming and she'll know what to do. Torque? Yeah, I'm coming. Take the back door. Teranz, come on. Slink back into an alley behind the bar, leaving 10 bodies and one grievously wounded ghoul behind. Nobody stops you from circling around the block and finding your way to Sophie's car. Gregory drives away casually as if this was just another late night drive and not the crowning of a desperate, complicated evening. Sophie brings you all to a luxurious apartment in Manhattan's Upper West Side. The way she explains it, the vampire who owned it left the city a few years ago and gave away spare keys to a few trusted compatriots. It's been used sporadically since then. Fancy. You like it? I've always felt it was too modern for my tastes, but what's important is that it's secure. As long as nobody followed your car here, or the fledgling. Trouble follows this one wherever they go. Even if that's the case, we have very little time to conduct our business here anyway, and we'll be leaving soon, I hope. So let's begin. You look at Sophie, excited. Finally, you'll learn what it is that you've been working towards for more than a week, and what it is Kaiser wanted you to participate in. I have it on good authority that Boss Callahan is bloodbound to Prince Panhard. Torque sucks in air loudly. That's an accusation and a half there, Langley. Got proof? No, but we're just a boat ride away from getting it. What is that supposed to mean? Teranz, that address that I procured from Kaiser was the meeting spot for Panhard's and the Baron's regular sharing of blood. And other bodily fluids if the rumors are true. Wait, Kaiser knew about this? Is there anything that insufferable clump of dead skin doesn't know in this city? He knows things, but only shares them if you pay. Neither the Prince nor Callahan can touch him. He's too useful. Kaiser said something about having plans for me, that he wanted me to make this meeting happen. That can't be good, right? That is an interesting point. I think Kaiser might be as interested in shaking up the status quo as we are. The chaotic landscape makes for a great market for him, unlike a static one. I don't like playing into that creep's hands, but at least now I know that I'm doing it. The devil you know and all that. What was the address he gave you? They meet regularly on Ellis Island. In fact, their next scheduled meeting starts in just around half an hour. Hot damn, I'm guessing you want to crash that meeting. Why? So you can see the proof for yourself, so that I can make sure too, and so that I have an extra pair of eyes for Panhard to consider when I present her my ultimatum. The prince must abandon her seat and leave New York City. She can go wherever she pleases, but if she stays, the entire court will know, and the next prince might not look favorably on her past. Dealing with anarchs, especially so closely, is a punishable offense in the Camarilla, as I'm sure you've heard. So I did. Torque strokes his beard and looks intently at Sophie. What exactly are you trying to accomplish here? Say you remove Panhard, and I even remove Callahan. Then what? Torque, did you ever wonder why Callahan is keeping you in check? Because I wondered why the prince condemns anarchs during her visits to Elysium, but doesn't allow the Ivory Tower to challenge you. She or they have engineered the status quo, not for the good of their sect, but for private gain. They keep us all in line because it lets them hold on to power that much longer. And what's your goal? Make this Cold War turn hot? Not a great plan. You camis will get your butts kicked out of NYC in no time. You anarchs managed to organize, which I doubt you will. At any rate, it's a risk I am willing to take. I don't stand alone in this. This operation has been years in the making. Torque, I am offering you a chance to square things with Callahan and level the playing field. If we get rid of these two, then we can start on equal footing at the next stage of this dance macabre. Wait, isn't this copying the same status quo you're hoping to break? Just another Camarilla Anarch agreement to replace the current one? Well, for one, I don't expect to sleep with Torque to seal the deal. Fair enough. Also, if I understand your intentions, this is just an alliance of convenience, a ceasefire for a common benefit, not a lasting peace treaty. Did I get that right? Exactly. So you see, Teranz, it's nothing like the current arrangement. It's quite the opposite, wiping the slate clean. After all these years spent in after all these years spent in Callahan's shadow and taking part in all the kindred dick measuring contests, I should expect a ruse, some ploy to kill me in an out of the way place. That's our inherent paranoia talking. My gut's telling me it's time to get the show started. I do hope you have a boat nearby, Langley. Sophie smiles mischievously. Of course I do. It's waiting for us by the pier. Lead the way then. Moonlight's burning. The three of you leave the apartment and walk towards the pier. Nobody seems to be following you. You get on a small patrol boat and double time it through the Hudson's cold, dark waters. Out of all the places in NYC where the prince and the baron can meet, and it's Ellis Island, a landmark with a dark past, a museum on one hand, a dilapidated piece of history on the other. You leave the boat and make your way to the southern part of the island, paying no heed to the renovated tourist attractions on the northern side. You expected some resistance. A night guard, a helicopter flying overhead, or maybe an NYPD patrol boat. Nothing. This island seems completely deserted. It's clear this sets Sophie on edge. She's moving as quietly and subtly as ever, but you can see that she's eager to reach the particular house her intel pointed out. Torque is following suit, grimly determined, flashing his piercing gaze all over, still clearly uncertain this isn't some kind of con. Finally, you see it. Light coming out of a window in one of the buildings at the edge of the island. The three of you slowly creep closer to the building and you take a look inside the window. There it is, Callahan kneeling in front of the prince, sucking on Panhard's wrist, both fully clothed, a small blessing. Torque makes his move, and before Sophie can stop him, he busts through the building's door. It all happens very quickly. Torque grabs Callahan by the shoulders and throws him through the still open door. Callahan hits the ground hard. Torque appears on top of him and starts punching. You fucker. You piece of shit. Stop. The prince's voice takes hold for just long enough to make Torque relent, which the Baron uses to the fullest. He shoves Torque off of himself and tries to bite down. Prince, call off your lapdog. Langley, what is the meaning of this? The two anarchs break apart, both wounded, but neither is quite done yet. They look at one another with pure hatred. Kill the bitch, Helen. But leave this fledgling to me. Right after I deal with this shit stain, I'm gonna... A shrill, unpleasant laugh fills the air. You know who it belongs to. So entertaining, truly. It feels almost a shame to break up this spectacle, but alas. Thomas? Who the fuck is this joker? Ah, yes, I don't think we met, though I did hear a lot about you, Mr. Torque. My name is Thomas Arturo, and I... Callahan uses this moment of uncertainty to strike. He's still too slow for torque. He throws the boss onto the lawn where the two exchange blows once again. Ahem. Helen, if you would be so kind as to ask your friend to not hurt our guest too much. Callahan, don't kill him. This time, Callahan comes out on top and grabs Torque in an iron hold. Your companion struggles but can't quite break away. I'll not be denied, Helen. Not this time. You will do as I command. And she will do as I command her, Douglas, old boy. What? Like I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupting. We're really interrupted. I feel like I need to break up this little spectacle. It's been going on for much too long. You think you're so smart, Langley. You and your clique figured out that there was something fishy going on all on your own, but you were always working with just a piece of the puzzle. Wasn't she, Teranz? Sophie looks at you shocked and disappointed. What are you? What am I talking about, you ask? You fledgling. You don't know, how could you? Only I knew, and your sire, of course. And your sire. I am losing his voice. Alright. And your sire, of course. They're the one who agreed to embrace you after some negotiations. You hear a scream and a curse. It's Callahan, whose arm has been nearly ripped off his body. Torque breaks out of the Baron's grasp but doesn't continue the attack. Instead, he's at the edge of the water and in the blink of an eye and disappears into the Hudson. The only trace left of him is his fedora. Leave him. Why can't you trust the actors to play their roles? No matter, a problem for another night. He'll reach his ally. He'll reach his allies. He'll tell everyone of this. Let him, and why not? Nobody will believe him. Besides, his nights are numbered now that he's in the SI sights. Sophie looks at you. How could you, Teranz? I saved you. Turo appears next to her and suddenly appears next to her and slaps her face. Did you hear anything I said, Langley? Nothing. It's not them. It's me. Me. Thomas, what? Now shut up. Shut up. I'm talking now. You played this game all wrong. You're playing on one board, but you're just a pawn on another bigger board, see? Never realize the people at the top simply flip the chessboard over and punch you in the face whenever they don't like how the game is going. He motions to the remaining kindred. But the thing is, you weren't even adept at playing the game, you knew. Teranz, just another pawn placed on the board by my associate. They thought they were your piece since you took them in, but who gave you that idea? You return to the night where you were judged by Prince Panhard, the woman in red, Sophie. Somebody speaking to her, a man in glasses, the man standing before you now. This is cruel. If only we knew what was going to happen. If only somebody would speak up for the poor child. They could be a useful tool for the Camarilla. Terror creeps onto Sophie's face. Of course, those were not the words you heard, were they? No. You were always grasping for some opportunity to further your scheme. I put the bait out and you took it hook, line, and sinker. After that, it was only a matter of time before you start using Teranz as your errand boy. No one is quite as easy to track and monitor as a naive fledgling who just learned the ropes. What is it that you want, Thomas? What do I want? Oh boy. The answer is so simple, but so hard to put into words. Unstable stability. Cutting-edge tales of thrills and intrigue that push it to the limits, and then return you to the tried and tested status quo, gentle, infallibly. A system full of distractingly moving parts which simulate conflict so convincingly that its users never feel a need to direct their energies towards upsetting the system, achieving the achieving it achieving the I'm just gonna start speaking in a normal voice because I'm just blah. I'm like I can't keep his voice straight, and I'm starting to like jump all around, and it's has been going on for a while. So achieving the eternal through the disposable, building a city like the ship of Thesis, constantly changing its parts, yet always maintaining the same purpose, serving the same goals at all times. A large scale infrastructure that has something, something like an exhaust system for the spirit, something that disperses the toxicity around instead of concentrating in a single place. None of what you're saying makes sense in the slightest. None of what you're saying makes the slightest bit of sense. Arturo is momentarily stopped in his tracks. He stares into the sky for a few seconds before a sad grin appears on his face. Spoken like someone who's never really had what it takes to make it to the big leagues. With a theatrical snap of his fingers, he gives his last sentence a sense of finality. Something's changed in the air. You could swear you saw a shadow move behind Sophie. Goodbye, Sophie. A person appears behind Sophie. You can't believe your eyes. It's Adelaide Davis holding garden shears in her hands. You take off and rush towards Sophie. You only take a few steps before a figure blinks right next to you and pushes you away. Arturo. You hear the shears snip. Sophie's red hair conceals her face as her head falls, separated from her shoulders. Silence. Arturo's unpleasant laughter erupts right next to you. Oh, Teranz, your career is moving up at breakneck pace, moving up and up and up. Let me congratulate you on your promotion. Are you going to kill me too? That was the plan, certainly, but I had a change of heart. Whoop, nope, wrong. Alright. Helen, feel free to leave us and take the Baron with you. Thomas, I don't think you should. Shush, you're just being jealous. Adelaide, escort the prince and dear old Douglas, please. Sure thing, darling. You're left alone next to Sophie's body. Try not to look, but it's hard to ignore her lithe frame decomposing in front of your eyes. Her red dress is like a cloth thrown over a mummified corpse. Congratulations, you've won this little game. You set on a suicidal mission and successfully brought down the power-hungry wannabe tyrant, even if it probably wasn't the way you imagined it. Now you're free to enjoy paradise again, life after death, immortality, eternal youth. What they don't tell you is, of course, living in paradise is inherently sinful when not everyone can partake. But you have the time to learn how to live with sin, don't you? Takes a melancholic look at the city skyline surrounding him. The Statue of Liberty and the lights of Manhattan shimmer off in the distance. You know what New York taught me to believe in? Fate. New York taught me to believe in fate. My unlife began right here, and it began with utter desperation. My first instinct was to drown myself in books and keep reading and reading until literature finally gave me the piece of wisdom I needed to go on. Personally, I find reading a silly hobby in retrospect. I always had this minuscule hope that the next sentence I'd read could finally bring me salvation, but it never did. It only gave me fuel for this elevated, righteous, intellectual suffering. The more I read, the easier it was for me to boil every paragraph down to a power relationship. The characters' influence over each other, the writers trying to impress the reader, etc. The strings everyone pulls started to look like strands that weave into the fabric of fate. And once I saw this beauty, I got teary-eyed. My architect instincts kicked into overdrive. I didn't have to submit to fate. All I had to do was cooperate with it and wait for my time to shine. Give it my input wherever it needed until it trusted me to do more. Thomas steps over what's left of Sophie, wiping his glasses with an elegant cloth from his pocket. And it did. Fate let me look after the city with my architect's tools. I started quietly shaping the streets and corridors. Kaiser and his ilk shaped the flow of the information flow. And among many tools this process gave me, one of them was a way to reliably come up with useful agents like you. The methods I used were crude at times, but the route was all there. All you had to do was follow it. Some people write rulebook passages, the others plan city arteries. In the end, the effect is always the same. Someone always follows. He puts on the glasses and gives you a long, hard look. I've grown fond of you. You've done well. Even when that idiot Callahan tipped off the Inquisition, you still escaped. I like that kind of resourcefulness. I could use that kind of resourcefulness. He uncovers his wrist. So, take my blood, just enough so we can start off on the right foot, as a sign of good faith. Sign that you're ready to play in the big leagues, ready to behold the sights I've prepared for you. What do you say, Teranz? What? What? But what I'm so, I want to know what I did, because I know what, I know what I wanted to do if I had the option, but apparently, I don't know what actually happens. Like, is it just something that's kind of left as a cliffhanger just to leave, or what? It's so weird and annoying and confusing. But I am going to let the credits play out, because maybe there's like some sort of after credit sequence. Um, in the meantime, I guess I'd like to thank everyone for watching. I wasn't expecting the series to be this short, to be honest, but I guess it gives me time to um well, not time, but I guess it gives me a reason to play, well, not reason to play, but yep, nope, that was it. Okay, well, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time with Shadows of New York, I guess, since this is now done. Maybe I'll come back and try to join the Anarchs and play as one of the other characters. Anyway, goodbye.